Hello, my book presentation is going about the book The Boys from Brazil. The book is published in 1976 and is written by the American author Ira Levin. Also, a film is made about the book. That film is published 2 years after the book is published, so in 1978. Now I'm going to tell you the program of my presentation. First of all, I will give you a summary of the book. After that, I'm going to analyze the characters. Then I'm going to tell you something about the themes and the motives of the book. After that, I'm going to tell you something about the author, Ira Levin. And last but not least, I'm going to give my own opinion about the book. The summary of the book. Jacob Lieberman is a Nazi hunter and he runs a center in Austria that documents crimes against humanity perpetrated during the Holocaust. The waning interest of Western nations and in tracking down Nazi criminals, and the failure of banks in where he kept his center's funds forced him to move his center to his own lodgings. Then, in September 1974, he receives a call from an unknown man. The man says that he knows about the project from Joseph Mengele, a medical doctor from a concentration camp during the Second World War. The unknown man says that Joseph Mengele wants to kill 94 people who have a couple of things in common. All men are civil servants, and all of them have to be killed on particular dates in several years. But before the young man can say more about it, he gets killed. Lieberman hesitates about what he has to do with this, and he's wondering if the call was a prank or not. But in a certain way, he investigates and discovers that the killing, where the man spoke about, are taking place. He is confused. He wants to know why the people get killed and what the goal is of that killings. When he talks to the widow to the widows of the men, he recognizes something. The two sons of two widows have a couple of things in common. They are the same age. They talk in the same way, with the same way of thinking, and they are almost identical. It eventually transpires each of the 94 targets has a son aged 13 years old, and they are a genetic clone of Adolf Hitler, planted by Joseph Mengele. During the Second World War, he was specialized and he was doing investigation about cloning, and he wants to do that with 94 kids. Mengele wishes to create a new Führer for the Nazi movement. So he actually wants to make a sort of a new Hitler. And with the cloning and the killing of the fathers of the kids, he's trying to make the lives of the kids the same as the life of Adolf Hitler. So the father of Adolf Hitler died at the same age as the fathers of the kids died. Lieberman manages to work out one of the targets. So he tries to search for a man and to warn him so that the man can be protected. But however, Mengele reaches a man first, and he kills him, and then encounters Lieberman, because Lieberman was also searching for that man, but Mengele was first in killing him. Lieberman is shot by Mengele, But Mengele is killed by the dogs of the of the dogs of the men who Mengele killed. Now Mengele is dead. The plan is halted, but 18 Hitler clones have already lost their fathers. Lieberman destroys the list of the 94 clones, so that no one can will be able to help to create a new Adolf Hitler. And however, the book ends with one of the Hitler clones developing what may be the delusions of grandeur. Character analysis. There are two main characters in this book. The first one is Jacob Lieberman. Jacob Lieberman is a 50-year-old Jew who has his office in Austria. He is a detective and he is also a Nazi hunter. He wants to get rid of the Nazi people. He also gives lectures in universities and synagogues. He wants to spend the rest of his life chasing Nazis because of his childhood in a concentration camp. So that's why he lived in a concentration camp when he was younger, and now he just wants to get rid of the people who forced him to be in the concentration camp, so the Nazis. Jacob Lieberman is a very merciful and good person, because he wants to, for example, in the last paragraph, when he doesn't want to kill the 94 boys who have to be clones from Adolf Hitler, and that's an example of that he's a good man. He could also think from like, oh yeah, they are clones from Hitler, they have to die. But he didn't do that because he didn't want to be like the Nazis in the Second World War. The second main character is Josef Mengele. He's also 50 years old and he's an ex-Nazi. Dr. Mengele is the sick doctor who did cruel experiments on twins during his time as doctor at Auschwitz. He carries the dream that the Third Reich must live again. The plan to get 94 new Hitlers must be finished. And that's why Mengele is a very bad person. He just wants to get a new bad person like Adolf Hitler, and that's not so good. Themes and motives. The book has two themes in my opinion. The first one is the battle between good and evil. And should we use violence when it seems to be a quick solution? Gorin and Mengele are using violence, but Lieberman stays kind and doesn't want to use any violence. Sorry. Of course, Lieberman is the good person and Mengele is the bad person. He doesn't want to kill the 94 boys, 94 young Hitlers Mengele tried to make. The second theme is cloning, because the whole book goes about cloning. Levin takes the theoretical possibility of human cloning and bases his story on the notion that Mengele had mastered this technique. I didn't already say it, but the characters are based on real persons. They actually exist. But the true horror of Levin's idea is that clones are exact copies of Adolf Hitler. Levin knows that the idea of another Hitler appearing in our world is terrifying a lot of people, and that's why the book is a very good book, because it's very exciting and surprising. The genre of the book is a thriller. For example, in one of the last chapters, when Mengele gets killed by the dogs, that action in that paragraph, it was very exciting. And the story takes place in three places. The first one in Austria, in the center of Liebermann. Also in Sao Paulo, where Dr. Mengele lives. And in the United States. The motives. In the book there are two motives, I think. The first one is the death. That is a motive because there are a lot of people get killed in the book. First of all, the first one was the unknown guy who called Liebermann, of course. And after that, Mengele tried to kill 94 men to create a new Hitler, and also Mengele gets killed. So the death of people is coming back a lot of times. Also the Jewish people and the Nazis are coming back in the story a lot of times. In the whole story they talk a lot about Jews, and also Liebermann is Jewish. The whole story is actually a fight between Jewish people, Liebermann, and Mengele, the Nazi guy. The author of the book. The author of the book is Ira Levin. Ira Levin is born in 1929 and unfortunately died 8 years ago, in 2007. He was an author who wrote thrillers and plays, but his thrillers were more successful than his plays. Ira Levin is a real born writer. When he was 5, he already knew that he was going to be an author. He went to an elite school, and after that he went to the universities of Iowa, New York City, and Des Moines. And already when he was on the university, he already finished one book. The book is called Kiss Before Dying. Also, most of the times when he had written a book, a film was also made about the book. With one book it was even so that there were 2 movies about the book. As I already said, he died 8 years ago, but this was due to a heart attack. He lived in New York City, and he had 3 sons and 4 grandchildren. And last but not least, I'm going to give my opinion about the book. I think it was a very good book. It was very nice to read because the language they used was not too difficult, so I could follow the story very well. And also the excitement was very good in this book. Also in the scene with the dogs killing Mengele was very, very exciting. And it was also a good story because you just wanted to read further in the book. You just wanted to know how it would end between Liebermann and Mengele. And that's why I would recommend to everyone to read this book, because it's exciting and inspiring. Thanks for listening to my presentation.